All right, so today we're going to deep dive into a really cool episode of the Profit Plus podcast.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're all about giving you tips and tricks for your business. And so we thought, why not take a deep dive into someone else's tips and tricks?
Yeah, see what they're saying?
Exactly.
I love Profit Plus because they're so practical.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just theory. They
Mhm.
actually, like, give you stuff you can do.
Yeah, and they don't waste any time getting to that good stuff either.
Uh-huh.
So, like, right off the bat, they say one of the most important things is to define your goals.
Right.
Like, they really stress that.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I mean, think about it. If you were gonna, get in your car and go on a road trip,
Yeah.
you wouldn't just start driving. You would have a destination in mind.
You could have a map.
Yeah, you need a roadmap.
Totally.
And it's the same thing in business,
Right.
Whether your goal is to launch a new product or hit a certain revenue target,
Yeah.
you really need to define those goals to be able to make any progress.
So it's like setting the coordinates on your business GPS.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. And another thing they talk about that I found really interesting is they really emphasize this idea of mastering the basics. And yeah, I was kind of surprised because I thought they were going to be talking about, all this high-level stuff.
Right.
But they really go back to the basics and talk about budgeting and cash flow,
Yeah.
which is, like, not the sexiest topic, you know what I mean?
Right.
But it's so important.
It is.
Why do you think they focus so much on that?
Well, because it's the foundation of any successful business.
Yeah.
I've seen so many companies with like amazing ideas,
Right.
really innovative products or services,
Mhm.
and they just completely fail
Wow.
because they didn't manage their money well.
They don't have the foundation.
Yeah, it's like building a skyscraper. You can have this beautiful facade,
Right.
but if the foundation is shaky, the whole thing is going to crumble.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of like they're giving you the tools to build that foundation before you start thinking about the fancy stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got our goals, we've got our foundation,
Mm-hmm.
but Profit Plus doesn't stuff it there.
No, they don't.
They also say something that I thought was really important, which is, knowledge without action is kind of useless.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can listen to all the podcasts you want and you can
Mhm.
read all the books,
Doesn't matter.
but if you don't actually do anything,
Yeah.
it's not going to help you.
Right.
So they really stress this idea of taking action.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean to you in terms of, like, what kind of actions should people be taking?
Well, I think it's important to remember that you don't have to do everything at once. You don't have to make these huge, massive changes.
Yeah.
It's really about taking small, consistent steps.
Right.
So think about like one small thing you could do today that would move you closer to your goals.
Mhm.
Maybe it's, sending an email to a potential client, or
Yeah.
updating your website.
Or even just, like, writing down your goals.
Exactly. Anything that gets you moving in the right direction.
So it's about building momentum.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the last thing they talk about,
Hmm.
well, not the last thing, but another really important point
Right.
is the importance of community.
Yeah.
And I know you're a big believer in that thing.
I am.
Why do you think that is? Why is community so important?
Well, because nobody succeeds in a vacuum.
Yeah.
We all need support.
Yeah.
We need people to bounce ideas off of. We
All
need
right.
people to learn from.
Right.
And, just to be there for us when things get wrong.
It's like a sounding board.
Yeah. And there are so many ways to find your community these days.
Totally.
There are online forums.
Mhm.
There are in-person meetups.
Mhm.
There are masterminds.
I mean, even listening to this is kind of like joining a community.
Right. It is.
We're all here together.
Yeah. We're all learning and growing together.
Okay. And then the final thing they talk about, which I think is super important, is consistency.
Hmm.
And this kind of ties into the whole taking action thing.
Yeah.
But it's more about, like, making it a habit,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know, not just doing it once.
It's about showing up every day,
Yeah.
even when you don't feel like it,
Even when it's hard.
even when it's boring.
Yeah, because it's really about the long game.
It is. It's not about getting rich quick. It's
Mhm.
about building a sustainable
Yeah.
business and a sustainable life.
And that's something you can't do overnight.
Nope.
So it's really interesting to me how Profit Plus, it's called Profit Plus.
Right.
So you think it's all about, like, making money and,
Mhm.
but they really stress these, like, fundamental principles that are about so much more than just profit.
Yeah,
It's really about building a good life.
it is.
And so I think that's a really important takeaway for our listeners is that, all these principles we've been talking about,
Yeah.
they're not just for business.
No,
They're for everything.
they apply to every area of your life.
Yeah.
If you want to be successful in anything,
Yep.
whether it's your relationships,
Mhm.
your health,
Mhm.
your finances,
Whatever it is.
these principles can help you.
Setting goals, taking action, being consistent, surrounding yourself with good people.
Finding your community.
Yeah, and I think that's a really powerful message.
I agree.
So for our listeners out there, as you go about your date today, think about how you can apply these principles to all areas of your life,
Yeah.
not just your business.
And see what happens.
Yeah, and I think you'll be amazed at the results.
I think so too.
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll see you next time.
Bye.